Yemen, a land of contrasts and mysteries, where the echoes of ancient civilizations meet the harsh realities of modern life. Imagine wandering through the winding alleys of Sanaa's old city, where mud brick towers rise like fortresses, centuries of history etched into every wall and window. Venture beyond the cities, and the landscape shifts dramatically. Vast deserts stretch to the horizon, rugged mountains soar skyward, and the shores of Socotra reveal flora and fauna found nowhere else on Earth. Life here is vibrant yet fragile. Bustling souks overflow with spices, coffee, and handmade crafts, while families navigate daily challenges amid ongoing conflict. Yemen is a nation of resilience, where traditions endure, communities thrive, and a deep cultural pride remains, even in the face of adversity. Join us as we explore 15 shocking and fascinating facts about Yemen, uncovering the culture, history, and eccentricities that make this country unlike anywhere else. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, and turn on notifications, because what you're about to see will challenge everything you think you know about this extraordinary land. Number 1. Population and urban life. Yemen's cities alive with history and humanity. Yemen is home to roughly 30 million people, and while the population may not rival global giants, the density in its urban centers creates a world that feels alive with energy, culture, and history. Sana'a, the capital, is a living museum. Its old city is a labyrinth of narrow alleyways, towering mud brick buildings, and intricately carved windows that have stood for centuries. The streets are constantly bustling. Women in colorful dresses carry baskets of fresh produce. Men gather in shaded coffee houses to discuss politics and local news, and children dart through the crowds, laughter echoing off ancient walls. In Aden, life takes on a different rhythm. The port city pulses with maritime activity. Fishing boats line the harbor, and traders haggle over goods in crowded souks. Even amid economic challenges, the community spirit is palpable. People gather in the evenings along Corniche streets, sharing stories and food, while the aroma of freshly baked bread and spices fills the air. Taiz, Yemen's cultural heart, blends old-world charm with modern life. Universities, markets, and artisan workshops coexist with historic mosques and traditional neighborhoods. Every day, residents navigate narrow streets, balancing tradition and survival, family and work, in ways that reveal the resilience of Yemenis. Observing daily life here is like watching a living tapestry, where centuries of culture, social interaction, and human perseverance are woven together, showing a side of Yemen that goes beyond headlines and conflict. This is a nation where life continues, vibrant and defiant, and where community remains at the center of existence despite all challenges. Number 2. Ancient history and architecture. Yemen's timeless mud brick marvels. Walking through Yemen is like stepping back in time, and nowhere is this more evident than in the ancient heart of Sana'a. The Old City, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is a living testament to centuries of architectural mastery. Towering mud brick buildings rise like earthy skyscrapers, some reaching 7 or 8 stories, each adorned with intricate geometric patterns carved into the facade. The designs are not just decorative, they speak of a sophisticated understanding of climate and community life, keeping interiors cool under the relentless desert sun while creating a striking skyline that has endured for centuries. Fortresses scattered across the highlands tell stories of Yemen's turbulent past. From the formidable citadels of Shibam to the mountain strongholds of Taiz, these stone and mud brick structures were built to withstand both invaders and time itself. Each fortress has seen battles, alliances, and dynasties rise and fall. Walking their corridors, you can almost hear the whispers of history, traders, scholars, soldiers, and ordinary people who have shaped this land through centuries. Even daily life is entwined with this architectural heritage. Families live in multi-generational mud brick homes, some dating back hundreds of years, while local markets bustle at the base of these towering structures. Women carry water and goods through narrow lanes, their footsteps echoing against the ancient walls, while children weave between the buildings, learning the rhythms of a city built for resilience and community. In Yemen, architecture is more than shelter. It is identity, artistry, and endurance. Every carving, every timber beam, every sun-baked wall tells a story of a people who have preserved their culture through the rise and fall of empires, natural disasters, and the passage of time. It is a place where history lives, breathes, and continues to shape the lives of those who call it home. Number 3. Conflict and resilience, Yemen's struggle and strength. Yemen's landscape is as rugged as the challenges its people face. Decades of conflict have scarred cities, disrupted communities, and strained every aspect of daily life. Yet within this struggle lies an extraordinary resilience. In Sana'a and Aden, buildings show the marks of past conflicts, streets are quieter in some areas, and markets sometimes operate with caution, but life finds a way to continue. Families adapt in remarkable ways, relying on community ties, resourcefulness, and shared traditions to navigate the hardships. Despite shortages of electricity, clean water, and medical supplies, Yemenis maintain their routines. Women continue to manage households, sometimes walking miles to fetch water or secure food for their families, while children help with chores, attend makeshift schools, or contribute to family businesses. Markets still bustle with traders selling spices, fabrics, and fruits, their resilience a testament to a culture that refuses to be defeated by adversity. Communities have developed informal networks to provide support. Neighbors share resources, elders advise on coping strategies, and local groups create small-scale solutions for daily challenges. Even amidst checkpoints, curfews, and disrupted transport, people find moments of normalcy, tea ceremonies in courtyards, quiet prayers at local mosques, and celebrations of weddings and festivals when possible. Yemen's story is one of endurance. Every stone in the ancient cities, every market stall, and every home tells a tale of survival. It is a nation where hardship has forged adaptability, and where the human spirit continues to shine, even when the world's attention is elsewhere. This resilience is woven into the fabric of life, shaping not only how Yemenis live, but how they dream of a future where their culture, history, and communities endure. Number 4. Deserts and mountain landscapes. Socotra Island, Hadramaut, and dramatic vistas. Yemen's geography is unlike anywhere else in the world, a land where towering mountains rise from arid deserts and remote coastlines stretch into turquoise seas. Each region offers a strikingly different face of the country, creating a natural diversity that few nations can rival. The deserts of Yemen are vast and haunting. In Hadramaut, endless sand valleys roll into the horizon, dotted with isolated villages and ancient mud brick towns. This is a land where caravans once passed along trade routes, carrying incense and spices across Arabia. The silence of these deserts is broken only by the wind, and when the sun sets, the sky becomes a canopy of stars untouched by modern light. Then there are Yemen's mountains, dramatic and unforgiving. In the highlands near Sana'a and Taiz, jagged cliffs and terraced hillsides shape not only the land, but the lives of those who inhabit it. Farmers carve steep terraces into the slopes, growing coffee, cot, and grains in a delicate balance with the harsh terrain. Villages perch on ridges, their stone houses blending with the rocky landscape, as if growing naturally from the mountains themselves. Life here is challenging, but deeply rooted in traditions passed down for centuries. No exploration of Yemen's landscapes is complete without mentioning Socotra Island, a place so otherworldly it seems to belong on another planet. Located in the Arabian Sea, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is home to the dragon blood tree, with its umbrella-like canopy and red sap, found nowhere else on Earth. The island's pristine beaches, rugged limestone plateaus, and endemic wildlife make it one of the most unique natural environments in the world. For travelers, it feels like stepping into a living museum of evolution and isolation, untouched by modern chaos. Together, Yemen's deserts, mountains, and islands form a mosaic of beauty and extremes. These landscapes are not just backdrops, they shape culture, livelihoods, and identity. The mountains foster resilience, the deserts preserve traditions of survival, and Socotra stands as a reminder of nature's power to astonish. Yemen's geography tells a story of endurance, adaptation, and breathtaking wonder that continues to captivate those who experience it. Number 5. Traditional Yemeni cuisine, salta, mandi, kubs, and the role of food in daily life and culture. Food in Yemen is more than nourishment. It is a daily ritual, a cultural anchor, and a bridge between families and communities. To understand Yemeni life, one must sit at a dining mat, taste the spices, and share in the traditions that have survived for centuries. At the heart of Yemeni cuisine is salta, a dish unlike anything else in the region. It begins with a bubbling stew of meat broth, vegetables, and legumes, but what makes it unique is the hilba topping, a whipped fenugreek foam flavored with garlic and spices. It is served piping hot in stone bowls, still sizzling when placed on the floor for everyone to share. Bread is not just an accompaniment, but the utensil itself, as pieces of fresh kubs are torn by hand to scoop up the stew. Eating salta is not a solitary act. It is communal, emphasizing the closeness of Yemeni family life. Another cornerstone of Yemeni food is mandi, rice cooked with meat, often lamb or chicken, slowly roasted in underground pits. The technique locks in flavors of smoky spice and tender meat that falls apart at the touch of a hand. Mandi is a celebratory dish, prepared for weddings, religious holidays, and gatherings. It reflects Yemen's long ties to the spice trade, as cloves, cardamom, cinnamon, and saffron are layered into the rice, making every bite fragrant and rich. Bread in Yemen is not one type, but many. From thin, chewy kubs baked in clay ovens to thicker rounds brushed with ghee, bread is central to every meal. It is the tool, the plate, and the foundation of Yemeni dining. Villages still bake their bread in communal ovens, a practice that binds communities together in shared labor and warmth. Meals are traditionally eaten on the floor, with family and guests gathered around large platters. This way of dining breaks down hierarchy, reminding everyone of equality at the table. Generosity is a core value. Even in homes with limited means, guests are welcomed with what is available, and refusing food is considered disrespectful. Beyond daily dishes, food in Yemen carries cultural meaning. It marks religious events, symbolizes hospitality, and preserves ancient traditions. Spices tell the story of centuries-old trade routes, while cooking methods reveal the resilience of people who have learned to thrive in both mountains and deserts. Yemeni cuisine is bold yet humble, rich yet accessible. It captures the soul of a nation where food is not just eaten but experienced together, passed from hand to hand, generation to generation. Number 6. Tribal societies and local customs, tribal traditions, social structures, and community values. To understand Yemen, you must understand its tribes. Beneath the surface of modern cities like Sana'a or Aden, Yemen remains a land deeply rooted in tribal identity. For centuries, these tribes have shaped the country's politics, social life, and even its survival through conflict. Yemen's tribes are not relics of the past. They are living communities that still hold significant authority. Each tribe has its own system of leadership, usually centered around a sheikh who acts as both mediator and protector. Disputes are resolved not in courtrooms, but in majlis gatherings, where elders sit together, drink tea or coffee, and negotiate settlements. Honor, loyalty, and protection of family and clan remain at the heart of these discussions. Hospitality is one of the strongest values within Yemeni tribal culture. A traveler, even a stranger, is treated as a guest, and providing food, water, and shelter is seen as a sacred duty. Refusing hospitality is unthinkable, and in many villages the concept of generosity toward guests defines one's reputation. Customs are rich and layered. Tribal weddings can last for days, with music, dance, and feasts that bring entire communities together. The Bara dance, performed with traditional daggers, is both a cultural expression and a display of pride. Traditional clothing also reflects tribal identity, with men often wearing the hambiya, a curved dagger tucked into an ornate belt, symbolizing honor and manhood. Women wear brightly embroidered dresses and intricate jewelry that vary from region to region, preserving ancient craft traditions. Despite the modernization in cities, tribal codes of conduct still influence Yemeni life. They determine alliances, shape political decisions, and provide security in regions where state structures are weak. Even in times of war and hardship, tribal councils often step in to mediate conflicts, proving the resilience of these age-old systems. At its heart, Yemen's tribal society is about belonging. It provides identity, solidarity, and protection in a world that often feels uncertain. And while the country faces many challenges, its tribal customs remind us of a deeper continuity, where tradition and community hold firm even as the modern world presses in. Number 7. Markets and souks, ancient trade centers, spices, coffee, and vibrant commerce. Step into a Yemeni souk and you step back in time. These markets are not just places to shop. They are living theaters of culture, history, and daily survival. For centuries, Yemen has been at the heart of trade routes linking Arabia, Africa, and Asia, and its souks reflect that legacy with colors, scents, and sounds that overwhelm the senses. In the old city of Sana'a, narrow alleys twist through ancient stone buildings, leading to sprawling markets where merchants have traded for generations. Here you find stalls overflowing with spices, cumin, cardamom, saffron, and fenugreek, filling the air with fragrances so strong they linger long after you've left. Piles of dried fruits and nuts sit next to sacks of coffee beans, a reminder that Yemen is often called the birthplace of the coffee trade. The port city of Mocha once gave its name to coffee itself, and even today, Yemeni beans are prized around the world for their rich, complex flavor. But the souks are not only about trade, they are about human connection. Every transaction comes with conversation, haggling, and often a cup of tea. Here, commerce is social. Shopkeepers greet you warmly, offer samples, and sometimes share stories passed down through their families. Deals are struck not quickly, but with patience, reflecting the rhythm of a culture that values relationships as much as profit. Each souk has its own character. In Taiz you find textiles, hand-woven fabrics, and jewelry crafted by local artisans. In Aden, the markets reflect the city's history as a cosmopolitan port, blending Arabian, Indian, and East African influences. In smaller towns, souks are lifelines, where farmers bring produce, shepherds bring livestock, and families gather not only to buy and sell, but to meet neighbors and exchange news. There is a vibrancy to these places that tells you something profound about Yemen. Despite conflict, hardship, and uncertainty, the markets remain alive. They are places of resilience, where tradition and survival meet in every bargain and every handshake. And as you walk away, the echo of voices, the shimmer of spices, and the warmth of hospitality remind you that in Yemen, the souk is more than commerce, it is the heartbeat of daily life. Number 8. Coffee origins, Mocha, Yemen's historic coffee culture, Mocha city, and export legacy. When you sip a cup of coffee anywhere in the world, there is a good chance its story begins in Yemen. The small Red Sea port of Mocha gave its name to one of the most famous beverages in history. For centuries, this humble coastal city was the center of the global coffee trade, sending beans across oceans and into the cups of Europe, the Middle East, and beyond. The tale begins in the rugged Yemeni highlands, where coffee plants thrived on terraced mountainsides. Farmers carefully cultivated the beans, harvesting and drying them under the desert sun. Caravans of camels carried sacks of beans from the mountains to Mocha, where merchants loaded them onto ships bound for the Ottoman Empire, India, and eventually Europe. By the 15th century, Yemeni coffee was already legendary, known for its strong, earthy flavor. Mocha became more than a port. It became a symbol of trade, culture, and connection. European merchants, especially the Dutch and later the British, scrambled for control of the coffee trade. Coffee houses began to spread across London, Paris, and Istanbul, fueled by Yemeni beans. Even today, when you order a mocha at a cafe, you're speaking the name of this historic city. But coffee in Yemen is not only about exports, it is about tradition. In homes across the country, coffee is prepared with spices like cardamom or cinnamon, turning each cup into something more than a drink. It is a ritual. Guests are often greeted with coffee, served in small cups alongside conversation and hospitality. It is a way of welcoming, of showing respect, and of connecting generations. What makes Yemeni coffee unique is not only its history, but its cultivation. Unlike industrial farming elsewhere, many Yemeni farmers still use ancient methods, growing coffee in small plots, often without irrigation, relying instead on rain and the skill of generations. The beans are smaller, denser, and more flavorful, producing brews with chocolatey and wine-like notes that coffee lovers treasure. Today, Yemen's coffee industry faces challenges. Conflict, economic struggles, and competition from mass coffee producers have reduced its global reach. Yet Yemeni coffee remains a treasure, with specialty buyers around the world seeking it out for its rich heritage and unmatched taste. For Yemenis themselves, it continues to be a marker of identity, pride, and tradition. To walk through Mocha's old streets, now quieter than in its bustling heyday, is to feel history pressing against you. This was once the beating heart of global trade, a place where a simple bean transformed into a drink that shaped economies, inspired revolutions, and brought people together across continents. And at the center of it all stood Yemen, the birthplace of coffee culture as the world knows it. Number 9. Religious heritage, mosques, Islamic practices, and cultural rituals. Faith is at the heart of life in Yemen. The country's religious heritage is not only visible in its skyline of minarets and domes, but also woven deeply into the rhythm of daily existence. Yemen is overwhelmingly Muslim, with both Sunni and Zaidi Shia traditions present, and this diversity has shaped centuries of theology, scholarship, and community practice. In the ancient capital of Sana'a, the call to prayer echoes from hundreds of mosques, including the Great Mosque of Sana'a, one of the oldest in the Islamic world, built during the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad in the 7th century. Its intricate wooden doors, geometric patterns, and sacred manuscripts preserved within its walls are reminders of Yemen's role as an early center of Islamic learning and devotion. Religious life flows naturally into everyday routines. 5 times a day, work pauses and streets empty as men and women turn toward Mecca for prayer. Families gather on Fridays, the holiest day of the week, filling mosques for Jumu'ah prayers, where sermons touch on faith, morality, and the challenges of modern life. Ramadan transforms Yemen into a place of nightly gatherings and shared meals as neighborhoods come alive after sunset with lanterns, food stalls, and the warmth of community. But Yemen's spiritual culture extends far beyond prayer alone. In villages, towns, and cities, Islamic rituals mark every stage of life. Births are celebrated with recitations from the Quran. Weddings blend faith with festivity, bringing together entire communities in ceremonies that last for days. Funerals are solemn yet deeply communal, reflecting the importance of family, respect, and the belief in life beyond this world. Mosques are not only houses of worship, they are centers of education, charity, and community. For centuries, Yemeni scholars contributed to Islamic thought, writing on theology, jurisprudence, and philosophy. Manuscripts from Yemen's mountain libraries remain some of the most valuable in the Islamic world, though many now face risks of damage or loss due to ongoing conflict. What makes Yemen's religious heritage distinct is how seamlessly it blends with culture and identity. Architecture reflects devotion: tall minarets rising from mud brick houses, intricate mosaics covering prayer halls, and courtyards designed for reflection and gathering. Festivals and holy days carry a sense of unity and endurance, reinforcing bonds even in difficult times. Despite hardships, the strength of faith provides stability and hope for millions of Yemenis. In a land marked by turbulence and uncertainty, religion is both an anchor and a source of resilience, a reminder of continuity that ties today's Yemen to its long and storied past. Number 10. Maritime history and ports, Aden and other historic ports, trade, and seafaring culture. Yemen's story is not written only in its mountains and deserts. Much of its identity comes from the sea. For centuries, its maritime history and ports have served as lifelines that connected Yemen to the wider world. Along its Red Sea and Arabian Sea coastlines, harbors like Aden, Mocha, and Hodeidah once pulsed with the movement of ships, sailors, and merchants from Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. The port city of Aden is perhaps the most famous. Nestled in the curve of a natural harbor, it has been used as a trading hub since antiquity. By the medieval period, Aden had become one of the most important ports in the world, a crossroads where Indian spices, African ivory, Arabian incense, and Yemeni coffee changed hands before being shipped to Europe and beyond. Its strategic location, right at the mouth of the Red Sea leading into the Suez Canal centuries later, made Aden a jewel coveted by empires. The British recognized its importance and ruled it for over a century, leaving behind colonial buildings, docks, and a cosmopolitan legacy. Even earlier, the smaller port of Mocha gave its name to one of the most prized commodities of all time: coffee. From this Yemeni city, beans were shipped across the seas, sparking Europe's obsession with coffee houses and forever tying Yemen's maritime history to the world's morning ritual. Ships laden with goods would leave Yemen's shores and return with textiles, ceramics, and metals, blending cultures through centuries of exchange. But Yemen's seafaring culture was not limited to trade alone. Coastal communities relied on the sea for fishing, pearl diving, and boat building. Traditional dhows, the wooden sailing vessels that still glide along the coasts, carried not just cargo, but stories of adventure, migration, and survival. Generations of Yemeni sailors knew the monsoon winds, the hidden reefs, and the star patterns that guided them safely across treacherous waters long before modern navigation. Today, Yemen's ports remain symbols of both heritage and struggle. Aden continues to be a bustling center, though its potential is hindered by conflict. Fishermen along the coasts still rise before dawn, casting nets that feed families, while the echoes of the old maritime empires linger in the ruined fortresses and lighthouses overlooking the sea. The sea shaped Yemen's destiny. It linked its people to the world, carried its wealth across oceans, and drew foreign powers to its shores. To walk along Aden's docks, to watch the dhows sailing out at sunset, is to witness a history of movement, resilience, and global connection that defines Yemen as much as its deserts and mountains. Number 11. Language and poetry. Arabic dialects, oral traditions, and the importance of poetry. Language is at the heart of Yemeni identity, and few countries in the Arab world treasure poetry as deeply as Yemen does. The official language is Arabic, but Yemen is home to a wide variety of local dialects. These dialects reflect the country's diverse geography and tribal roots, with unique words, accents, and expressions found in the northern highlands, southern coasts, and eastern deserts. Despite these differences, language remains a unifying force, carrying centuries of history and tradition. But what truly sets Yemen apart is its poetic culture. In Yemen, poetry is not confined to books or classrooms. It lives in the streets, the markets, and the gatherings of everyday people. For generations, tribes have settled disputes, honored leaders, or expressed love and grief through verses spoken aloud. Oral poetry, recited with rhythm and often accompanied by gestures or song, serves as both entertainment and social commentary. Yemenis often describe poetry as their second currency, a way to gain respect, build reputation, and leave behind a legacy. A well-phrased couplet can carry more weight than an argument, and a poet's words can stir emotions that linger long after the performance ends. Even in modern times, radio shows and social media platforms showcase local poets who continue this proud tradition. The country's literary history also shines through classical works written in formal Arabic, with Yemeni scholars contributing to Islamic philosophy, law, and literature. Yet it is the oral verses, passed from father to son, mother to daughter, that remain the most cherished. They speak of honor, land, resilience, and faith. In Yemen, to know the language is to know the soul of the people, and to hear their poetry is to hear the heartbeat of a nation that has endured hardship yet continues to celebrate beauty in words. Number 12. Festivals and celebrations, religious and cultural events, traditional music and dance. Despite years of hardship, Yemenis still hold on to their festivals and celebrations, which bring color, joy, and togetherness to daily life. The two most important are the Islamic holidays of Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Families gather for prayers at mosques, share festive meals, exchange gifts, and visit relatives. In cities like Sana'a and Aden, the streets come alive with markets selling sweets, new clothes, and toys for children. Another major celebration is Mawlid al-Nabi, the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad. In Yemen, this day is marked with processions, sermons, and recitations of poetry praising the Prophet's life. Communities decorate mosques and homes with lights, and people gather to share meals and prayers. Cultural celebrations also hold deep meaning. Weddings, for example, are multi-day events filled with music, dancing, and traditional dress. Women wear elaborate gowns embroidered with gold, thread, while men often wear the jambia, the traditional curved dagger, as a symbol of pride. Music plays a central role, with drums, ouds, and singers keeping guests on their feet well into the night. Traditional dance adds to the festive spirit. The Barah, a famous Yemeni dance, involves synchronized steps performed by men carrying their jambiyas, moving in unison to the beat of drums and flutes. It is both a cultural performance and a display of unity and heritage. Even in difficult times, these celebrations continue, reminding Yemenis of their resilience and sense of community. They offer brief moments of joy and connection, preserving traditions that stretch back centuries. Number 13. Natural wonders and biodiversity, Socotra's unique flora and fauna, mountains, and wadis. When it comes to natural wonders, Yemen holds one of the planet's most extraordinary treasures, Socotra Island. Often called the Galapagos of the Indian Ocean, Socotra is unlike anywhere else on Earth. Isolated for millions of years, the island is home to plants and animals found nowhere else. The most iconic is the dragon's blood tree, with its umbrella-shaped crown and red sap once prized in medicine and dyes. There is also the desert rose, with swollen trunks and bright pink blossoms that look almost alien. More than a third of the island species are endemic, making it one of the most unique biodiversity hotspots in the world. Beyond Socotra, Yemen's mainland landscapes are equally breathtaking. Towering mountains, like Jabal and Nabi Shu'aib near Sana'a, rise above the clouds at over 3,600 meters, offering terraced villages clinging to cliffsides. These mountains capture rain and mist, feeding valleys and providing life to surrounding communities. The country's wadis, or seasonal riverbeds, are another wonder. During the rainy season, they transform from dry channels into rushing streams, bringing water to farms and villages. Some wadis, like Wadi Hadramaut, are vast valleys with fertile land surrounded by dramatic desert cliffs, creating a contrast of green against golden rock. This blend of rare ecosystems, high peaks, and fertile valleys shows a side of Yemen that few outside the region ever imagine. It is not only a land of history and hardship, but also of stunning natural beauty that rivals the great wonders of the world. Number 14. Modern challenges in daily life. Infrastructure, access to education and healthcare, urban-rural contrasts. Daily life in Yemen is defined by resilience in the face of immense challenges. In cities like Sana'a, Aden, and Taiz, modern infrastructure is strained under years of conflict and limited resources. Roads are often damaged, electricity supply is irregular, and water shortages are a daily reality for many families. Access to healthcare is one of the most pressing concerns. Hospitals and clinics operate with limited equipment and staff, and in rural areas, people often travel long distances to reach even the most basic medical care. Education, once a strong cultural priority, has also been heavily affected. In urban centers, schools continue to operate, though classrooms are overcrowded and resources are scarce. In rural regions, children may walk for hours to attend school, and in some cases, education is interrupted altogether. Despite this, Yemeni families place high value on learning, and community efforts often step in where formal systems struggle. The contrast between urban and rural life is striking. In cities, despite hardships, people adapt with bustling markets, mobile technology, and informal networks that keep life moving. In the countryside, life remains rooted in agriculture and tradition, with limited access to modern conveniences but stronger ties to communal living and self-sufficiency. These challenges paint a picture of a country struggling with instability, yet the daily lives of Yemenis reveal persistence, creativity, and an ability to endure. For many, community remains the backbone, providing strength where official systems fall short. Number 15. Yemen today: culture, survival, and spirit, resilience, identity, heritage, and hope for the future. Yemen today is a nation defined not only by its struggles, but by the unbreakable spirit of its people. Despite years of conflict and hardship, Yemenis continue to hold firmly to their cultural identity, their traditions, and their deep sense of community. In the face of uncertainty, heritage becomes an anchor. Families preserve age-old customs, oral poetry thrives as a form of resistance and pride, and traditional foods remain central to gatherings, even when resources are scarce. The resilience of the Yemeni people is perhaps their most defining characteristic. From the crowded markets of Sana'a to the remote villages of the Hadramaut, survival is not passive. It is active, creative, and rooted in solidarity. Communities share what they have, neighbors support one another, and cultural practices keep morale alive in difficult times. At the same time, Yemen's identity as one of the world's oldest civilizations gives its people strength. The ancient mud-brick skyscrapers of Shibam, the timeless mosques of Sana'a, and the biodiversity of Socotra remind the nation and the world that Yemen holds treasures unlike any other place. These symbols of endurance represent hope that one day peace and stability will allow the country to flourish again. For all its struggles, Yemen remains more than a story of conflict. It is a land of poetry, music, history, and survival. It is a place where resilience is woven into daily life, and where hope for a better tomorrow endures in every prayer, every marketplace, and every family home. Yemen is a land of stark contrasts. Ancient cities rise from desert sands, standing as reminders of a glorious past, while modern struggles cast a shadow over daily life. It is a country where hardship is real, but resilience is stronger. The culture, traditions, and spirit of its people endure, even in the face of adversity. This resilience is what makes Yemen unforgettable. It is not only a place of conflict, it is a place of history, poetry, survival, and hope. A country where the past and present collide, shaping a future that its people still believe in. If you were captivated by this journey through Yemen, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, and turn on notifications so you never miss another travel documentary.